Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know at the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Elevo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. I'm Joe Everett with today's farm news. Well, I hope everyone had a great Labor Day yesterday and enjoyed the nice weather we had over the weekend. It started to make it feel like harvest season is just around the corner. We'll have a full forecast update for you shortly to see what you can expect for weather this week around the farm. Some quick calendar reminders. Mercer Landmark will be hosting their 4th annual Agro Expo at the Laddie Agronomy Facility in Paulding. To learn more or attend, visit agroexpo.com. And the Jackson County Regional Livestock Market will have their bred cow sale with over 120 head Friday at 6 p.m. jcrlm.com, your livestock authority. Well, from disease to drought, the 2025 crop has been thrown a curveball late in the season. It's also pushing the crop to maturity quicker, and with USDA currently projecting a record yield in crop, many analysts say U.S. crop is likely going backwards in terms of yield. But that doesn't necessarily mean USDA will cut yield projections next month. USDA's August crop production report showed a record high 2025-26 U.S. corn yield projection of 188.8 bushels per acre and a record high soybean yield estimate at 53.6 bushels per acre. But Southern rust could take a big bite out of the U.S. corn crop this year. The disease is causing turmoil for farmers who have a large crop in the making. In some cases, a Hail Mary fungicide application at R4 up to early Den R5 might make sense this season, say agronomists. But in severe cases, the disease can wipe out 45% of the yield potential in a field, according to the Crop Protection Network. Well, the U.S. Agriculture Secretary Thursday announced a new plan designated to boost veterinarian numbers in rural America. Let's check in with Rod Bain from the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
A challenge for years in rural America, a shortage of veterinarians. Thursday in Mississippi, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins announced a new effort to address that.
USDA is issuing the Rural Veterinary Shortage Action Plan.
Speaking at Mississippi State University's College of Veterinary Medicine, the secretary explained components of the plan.
First, we are enhancing and streamlining USDA's veterinary grant programs. We are making an additional $15 million available for the Veterinarian Medicine Loan Repayment Program and streamlining the application process to collect less information and allow submission via an online portal.
Additional plan aspects include economic research to analyze rural veterinarian shortages, strategies to create a direct public service pipeline for veterinarians, and
we will work with veterinarian schools across the country to increase recruitment from rural America.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Hey, thanks, Rod. Well, the Trump administration will soon propose a new Clean Water Act rule that could eliminate federal protections for many wetlands across the United States, according to an internal EPA presentation obtained by Politico's E&E News. Under the proposed rule, the federal government would regulate wetlands only if they meet a two-part test. They would need to contain surface water throughout the wet season, and they would need to be abutting and touching a river, stream, or water body that also flows throughout the wet season, the presentation said. Fewer wetland permits would be required under the new language, according to a slide from the presentation, which was confirmed by 2 EPA staffers who were briefed on the rule. In 2023, the Supreme Court ruled in Sackett v. EPA that only wetlands with a continuous surface connection to a relatively permanent body of water are protected by law. Stay tuned. We'll be back with today's weather forecast next here on the Ohio AgNet. Get ready for the 63rd Annual Farm Science Review, September 16th through the 18th near London, Ohio. Explore hundreds of exhibits, field demonstrations, and educational sessions. Get pre-sale discounted tickets at participating OSU Extension offices, agribusinesses, or online at fsr.osu.edu. Plan your trip with the digital directory and mobile app, and follow Farm Science Review on social media. Don't miss the 63rd Farm Science Review, September 16th through the 18th.
The Ohio's Country Journal sweepstakes are back. 4 winners will receive a $250 Visa gift card. Subscriptions are still free, but we must have a new request on file from subscribers every 3 years. Come renew or subscribe at the Farm Science Review, and you'll meet that September 20th deadline to be entered. If you've already subscribed since January 1, 2025, you're automatically already entered. Good luck, everyone.
You're tuning in on the Ohio AgNet. Today's weather brought to us by Sea Consultants. Simply better performance online at seaconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Warm and dry over the Buckeye State the next couple of days. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. I'm not seeing anything of major consequence here in the short haul. Tuesday and Wednesday, a little bit warmer than what we saw over the weekend, but pleasantly so. Now, I will say humidity values may try and creep up a little bit, especially tomorrow, and that's on southwest flow ahead of our next frontal boundary. Also seeing the remains of a pesky weather system that's just sat over the Tennessee Valley the past couple of days, maybe throwing a few more clouds into southern Ohio tomorrow afternoon and evening. Our next front is on track to come in after midnight tomorrow night, right on through Thursday. I'm looking at 80% coverage of anywhere from a tenth to 3/4 of an inch. The best chances of rain are going to be well north, coming through eastern Michigan and into southern Ontario, but in northern Ohio, we may be closer to that half-inch part of the range than farther south. Everything's done as we move through the overnight to Thursday night. I think Friday is mostly dry. Secondary trough with a little moisture trying to come through overnight Friday night through Saturday midday. May see another few tenths there out of that before drying down completely Saturday night on through the balance of the weekend. And the dryness holds all the way into early next week. Behind these fronts, though, the second half of this week, we do see significantly cooler air coming in. It's not the earth-shattering cold that some social media meteorologists have been trying to talk about getting all the way down this way. Absolutely not. But definitely cool for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week. I think temperatures are going to moderate a little bit more Wednesday the 10th on through the end of the week. But in this up and down on temperatures, we're not seeing much precipitation from Sunday all the way through next week and into the week of the 15th. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Well, a National Pork Board report expects pork to be even more price competitive with beef and chicken during the fall. The pork supply continues to fall short of expectations. In the last month, slaughter is down 3.3%, and when combined with the decline in weights, production has been down 4%. With Labor Day weekend, there were some slight volatility in terms of pricing and supply. Hog slaughter is expected to quickly climb above 2.5 million head per week by mid-September. This will likely ease some of the tight supply. Labor-to-bone product has been a concern and could become more of an issue as slaughter moves higher in the fall. Ham prices are expected to trade firmly as export buyers are short bought. Bellies should also ease lower in September and October. October is pork month, and rib prices are already above last year. While Descender Low Curly just cut the ribbon on its brand new liquid fertilizer plant in Defiance, Ohio. The 50-acre site is designed to serve farmers across the United States and Canada with state-of-the-art technology that saves water and energy while boosting crop production. Company leaders say the facility isn't just infrastructure, it's a promise to farmers and the community, delivering reliable, science-driven nutrients in an environmentally responsible way. The Defiance plant will produce well-known fertilizers like Thiosol and KTS, with plans to add more sulfur-based products down the road. It's also bringing new jobs and economic growth to the region. Executives gave credit to the Plummer family for their role in making the site possible, saying their vision helped transform the community into a hub for modern agriculture. With operations now in full swing, Descender Low Curly says it's excited to grow alongside Defiance while supporting a more sustainable future for farming. To learn more, you can find this article at ohioagnet.com. Well, America's farms are in the middle of a labor crisis. American Farm Bureau Federation President Zippy Duvall tells us that without a stable workforce, America's food security will be put at risk.
The debate over immigration enforcement has brought a decades-long problem to the forefront, and that's labor. Americans don't apply for on-farm jobs, so farmers have increasingly turned to the H-2A program to fill openings with foreign workers. But red tape, seasonal limitations, and expensive mandated wage rates put the program out of reach for many farmers. The need for labor is so desperate, almost half of the workers on farms lack proper documentation. Lawmakers have an opportunity to provide a reliable workforce that will ensure that farmers can continue growing the food America relies on. We can have a secure border and a legal workforce if lawmakers are willing to act.
Again, that was Zippy Duvall, American Farm Bureau Federation president. While there are concerns over the Mississippi River levels as harvest approaches, there's continued evidence that we may once again experience some low water conditions on the lower Mississippi River this fall. The prospects for restricted barge transportation this fall may come as a surprise for many given the healthy amounts of rainfall throughout much of the Midwest this spring and summer. However, the spigot has mostly been turned off throughout August, especially in the states that feed into the Ohio River, which feeds the Mississippi. According to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, 60% of the water volume on the Mississippi River south of Cairo, Illinois, is provided by the Ohio River. As a result, low water volumes on the Ohio River will often translate to low water volumes on the lower Mississippi River. The higher water levels at St. Louis reflect the amount of precipitation in the adjacent regions throughout the spring and summer, which was mostly beneficial. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your grain analysis and your overnight markets after this.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals. Your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
It's now time for today's market analysis, which is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Call 574-566-2113 for information on soybean marketing to LDC. Here's Ryan Martin.
No market activity to report from yesterday. Why? It was Labor Day, and so the markets were closed, of course, as we take a look back again at what happened last Friday. I think a little bit of the activity was probably some end-of-month short covering. What is key, though, on the corn with the gains that we saw, up 10 to 12 on Friday, is that corn did break the 50-day moving average. That makes today's trade very important. If we can see another close in that area, maybe we're opening up a chart pattern for a signal to have some more buying come in. Look, in my mind, this is a demand-driven story, and while we did get some surprising demand news the end of last week, I don't think there's a lot here for us. Traders following USDA's August report had entered into long bean short corn spreads. That spread is usually put on by the purchase of one soybean and the sale of 2 to 3 corn futures. Last Friday, the market blew out of those spreads, which added to the upside in corn. Now, corn probably is going to be running out of gas here close to the level that we closed at last Friday, which was around the 420 December area. However, we can maybe add another 5, 10, 15 cents or so. Corn does not need to entice the U.S. farmer to seed additional acres in 2026, especially if we're going to be putting together a 16.7 or 8 billion bushel crop this year. Brokers estimate the funds bought about 14,700 contracts of corn last Friday, 3,200 contracts of beans, 2,600 contracts of wheat. In the soy products, there was a selling of 3,100 contracts of oil, buying of 1,900 contracts of soybean meal. No new daily sales announcements from USDA for the 5th straight day last week. All week long, no flash reported sales. The lack of daily sales announcement is worrisome, especially heading into the U.S. harvest. This is the time of year where our crops are the cheapest. This should be enticing outside buying, but with China not at the table, we don't have much. A few surprise sales the week before last that hit last week's export sales report, but nothing last week. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Now let's take a look at your overnight trade, which is brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. September corn $3.96 down 2 cents. December new crop corn $4.17 3/4 down 2.5. As we turn to soybeans, September $10.35 down 1 3/4. November soybeans $10.47 1/4 down 7 1/4. And September wheat is at $5.13 down 4.5. As we turn to livestock from Friday's close, October live cattle $239.65 up $2.72. December live cattle $240.77 up $2.17. October lean hogs 95.02 up 75 cents. December lean hogs 87.40 up 42 cents. October feeder cattle 364.47 up $2.95. November feeder cattle 363.60 up $3.57. And September class 3 milk 18.07 down 4 cents. Thanks for joining us and have a great morning, everyone. This is the Ohio AgNet.